Hello, everyone. Welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 231. Andrew Eisen here. Before I started streaming, found myself humming part of the soundtrack to Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which was 1996, somewhere on there. Good soundtrack. Movie's okay. Um, I will say this, though. I saw it in the theater back in 96 or whenever it was, and I was mad impressed um, at the opening number, the Bells of Notre Dame, when whoever is singing hits something like a male singer hits something like a high D in head voice. Bells of Notre Dame. Only it's way up in uh, head voice. Oh, Lindy says 96, so I was right. Yeah. Perfect pitch. Um, no, I do not have perfect pitch. I have relative pitch. I'm usually somewhere close, but I happen to actually be singing a D there, so all right. Um, so the end is Bells of Notre Dame, and I was sitting in the theater going, "Whoa, that's a dude hitting a high D in head voice." Oh! And then I bought the movie on. Well, I didn't. Mom did. Uh, I think. I guess I could have bought it. I would have been. It would have. I would have been like 17 when it came out on video. Anyway, I bought it on VHS, and I watched it, and I was very disappointed to find that um, whoever that singer is who's posting up on a D um, got buried in the mix when they mixed it down to the stereo. The stereo mix for the VHS. I also listened to the DVD mix years later. Same problem. Yeah, bells of Notre. That is posting this down. Bum 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 bum. Bells, 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 bells. It's like, dude, can't. This dude is posting a D in head voice. Pull back. Let him breathe. So, if I can offer any advice to Disney, if you have a vocal talent who's posting a high D in head voice, um, do not bury it in the mix. Then again, I may be one of the few who care about that. Maybe everyone's like, oh, no, I can't hear the bells over this dude wailing on a D. Matthew says, I'm not a sports fan, but talk about a coup by Microsoft getting Major League Baseball, the show, day one on Game Pass. Sony can't be happy. I did not read about that one. So, and I don't know enough about it to really weigh in on it one way or the other. Hmm. So, Hunchback good. Head voice and high D is good. Damn impressive, especially for a lower registered gentleman like myself who struggles around middle C. Middle C, not very middle for me. So this is middle C. Ba. This is not comfortable for me. This is not middle. This is very high up in my range. For most people, that it's called middle C for a reason. Well, it's because it's the middle of a 8-octave keyboard. But for most people, this is pretty comfortable in mid-range. Not for me, though. No, no, it's actually taken work to get a decent sound out of a middle C. Luckily, when you sing barbershop bass in barbershop quartet singing, rarely do you ever have to go much higher than middle C, maybe a D, but middle C is pretty much the upper limit on what the bass is doing. There are exceptions to that, of course, but it depends on your quartet. But when you have your own quartet, you can customize your music arrange your music to the strengths of the individual voices of your quartet. For example, were I in a quartet, I have been in the past, but uh, you could take advantage of the fact that I'm strong on low notes, so you can do that. But generally, when you're arranging songs in the barbershop style, you might want a wide range of people to sing it. You might even want to sell your arrangement for people to use. In which case, you should probably write it so that most people can sing it. If you put the lead on a high D, most people are not going to be able to sing it. If you put the bass on a low D, not many are going to sing that. That's why typically the bass part's not going to go much lower than an F, and I'm probably boring the hell out of all of you. So let me get personal and talk about personal stuff. Now I sang barbershop quartet singing and chorus singing throughout pretty much all of my 20s. But, and this may seem self-centered to say, but to me, chorus singing was never where it was at. That was a stepping stone to quartet singing. Because when I'm in a chorus, which is a large group of people, it could be fairly small, like 16 people, or it could be really large, like 100 people. I've sung in choruses of 70-some members. Usually local barbershop choruses are going to be in the 20s, maybe 30 people. I don't like doing that as much. I don't hate it, but I don't prefer that because I feel, whether it's true or not, that whether I'm there or not makes absolutely no difference. I don't feel like I'm contributing. When I sing in a quartet, I'm the only one singing bass. So I better know my stuff. I better sing it right, and I better sing it well. They are relying on me to know my part and to do it well. It's like being in a play. If you screw up your part, that's on you. Now, there are, of course, some things you can do to help cover mistakes that happen on stage. Mistakes happen all the time. Flubbed lines, missed cues, things like that. You deal with it. Same in barbershop. You run out of air, it happens. You forget a word, it happens. You hope it doesn't, especially during contests, but it happens. Now, so to me, choruses were a place to find people to sing, sing in a quartet with. Now, you might say, well, Andrew, why don't you just go solo? If you want all the fame and the glory and the stage all to yourself. Well, because I can't sing the melody to save my butt. I sing a pretty decent bass, but my melody voice, while accurate as long as it's in a range I can hit. Like let me get a song that's fairly low for lead and give you an example. Heart of my heart, I love you. Life would be naught without you. Light of my life, my darling, I love you, I love you. A couple of those notes were wrong, but because I don't sing lead and I forget what the melody is. That's actually a slightly lower registered lead melody, and it still doesn't sound good when I do it. I mean, even when I was hitting the correct notes, it's like, that's just not pleasant to listen to. No one wants that. Especially if some four dudes came up on you and started singing, serenading you on Valentine's Day, and the lead melody sounded like that, you would shudder and run. So I sing bass, which means I don't solo. I can't because I can't sing melodies. So I sing harmony parts, and I can sing bass okay. Um, so quartetting was where it was at for me. Hello, chaos. Um, I tried very hard for 10, 12 years. I could not keep a quartet together. I imagine it's my fault. Frustratingly, I don't know what it is that I was or was not doing that resulted in my quartets just not lasting. The last quartet I was in, we went to district. My district is the Far West District, which is Southern California, Arizona, and I think Nevada. Very competitive district. You go to international, you're always going to have a bunch of Far West singers in the in like the top 10 groups. So we went to district. First of all, you have to qualify, then you have to go to division, then you have to, or I'm sorry, you go to division contest to qualify for district, and then you go to district, and if you post certain scores at district, then you can go to international. My quartet, that last quartet I was in, we were top 10 in district, Far West District, which is pretty good. That that was we posted solid scores, and then the quartet fell apart. This was, I think, the fall of 2010. I remained with my local chorus until the following summer. One of the things that I have a very I'm very serious about what I do. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And it genuinely bothers me when other people whom I'm working with don't make don't put in the effort. For example, rehearsals are not a place to learn your music. Learn your music at home. Rehearsals are a place to practice your music. It's the same thing with if you do plays, and I've done that before. It always bothered me when people were trying to learn their lines and stuff at the rehearsals instead of coming to rehearsal with their lines learned. Now that doesn't mean I would never accept any mistakes. No, we all make mistakes. I make mistakes. It's fine. Flub a line, but know your damn lines. But when I was in high school and college, mostly high school, but it always bothered me that I'm like, if you don't care about what we're doing, why are you here? And, well, because we're kids. We're hanging out and having fun with our friends, you stick in the mud. But that's the attitude I've always had when it comes to the stuff I'm working on. So that's probably something that contributed to my quartets never working. Uh, Possibly. I don't know. um, but you go to a local choruses and you have a mix of people who are serious about what they're doing, people who are just hanging out with their buddies on a Tuesday night or whatever. Sugar Apple, hello. Likewise with so I found myself the summer after my quartet last fall fell apart after we placed top 10 in a district. Where in the top 10 is 8 or 9, something like that. Um, if I'm remembering right. I think we had God, I can't remember what her score was. It was low 70s. I think we were just short of qualifying for international. Because at the time, I think international was like 75, and we had like a 73.9 or something like that. Um, but I found myself losing interest because chorus singing was just not what I wanted to do. And I found myself doing the thing that I really didn't like other people doing, not learning their music at home. I just wasn't putting in the time on my off time. I didn't care. I didn't want to. I just show up to rehearsal and sing. Now I can this sounds really conceited. I can, for the most part, get away with that because I can sight read. So, so I can pretty much just, as long as I'm familiar with the music, I can pretty much just sight read the music. I don't have to learn it at home. But still, to me, that was, I was disappointed in myself. I'm like, I'm not putting in the effort that I would expect other people to put in, even though I can just go and sight read the music and be fine. So I took time off, stopped going to rehearsal, and the plan was just to take some time off and just reset, recalibrate, and that was 10 years ago. I never went back, which is a shame because I like singing. I'm actually good at singing as long as it's in my range. I'm good at barbershop bass. Like I just demoed a couple of minutes ago, I can't sing the melody to save my butt. Even if the notes are right, the quality of the melody voice is not there. Um, Chaos says, and that is why I never did extracurricular activities. I didn't care. One thing I never cared about in high school, they had pep rallies, which were rallies for pep. Um, and this was a big. Everyone would gather in the gym and rah rah cheer community. I did not care in the least. I went home. Um, I lived only several blocks from high school, well within walking distance. I mean, it's like half a mile at that. So yeah, they had pep. Oh, you're not going to have classes. You're going to have a pep rally. Okay, bye. You think I would have gotten in trouble for that, but no, no. For some reason, who knows why? Probably because it honestly just wasn't that big a deal. But no one ever gave me crap about that. Like, you should go to the pep rally. No, why? What possible value? And that that kind of attitude probably probably contributes somewhat to why I couldn't keep a quartet together. So, Matthew says pep rally waste of time, but I hate icebreakers too. I don't dislike. I am introverted. I am not antisocial, but my comfort is inversely proportional to the number of people. you know, um, Go out with a friend, absolutely. Go out with a couple of friends, sure. Go to a party, no interest, none. And I've been to parties. I've been to dances. I've been to clubs. I don't like them. I really genuinely don't. I'm not comfortable. Even my mom's second husband, that makes him a stepdad, right? Yeah. Tim, he's actually this way when the kids would go visit. Uh, Really nice guy. He's a lot like me. Mom married a guy a lot like me. Weird. Um, as nice as he was, and as much as he liked my sister and I, occasionally he'd just have to just bow out and go decompress in his room. And I'm actually the same way. Um, like no matter how much I like you, after a certain amount of time, and I'm talking like not 5 minutes, but after a certain amount of time, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm getting overwhelmed here. I'm getting anxious. I need to just go take a walk around the block or go hide in a bedroom for 20 minutes. So yeah, maybe I will get back into quartetting again someday. Certainly not during a pandemic. But that's another one of the reasons, a contributing factor to why I've never gone back to choruses, because I don't trust people to not be horrible. And if there's anything the last several years has taught me anyway, it's that the more people you know, the higher the probability is that they are a genuinely toxically awful person. And sad as it is to say, I'm, at this point in my life anyway, pandemic notwithstanding, not willing to give people the benefit of the doubt that they're not going to turn out to be just horrible monsters. You know? And if I go sing with a chorus of 30 people, even in somewhere like Southern California, the bastion of awesome people, um, there's still like a 1 in 30. That's still like 10 people who are, odds are they're going to be just horrible, loathsome, repugnant pieces of doggy doo. And I'm just not willing to waste the remainder of my life on them. Sad, but that's the way I feel right now anyway. Matthew says, I'm not antisocial, but icebreakers are... Whoops, I read that one. Or, no. Chaos says, I refuse to do icebreakers in college. Matthew says, I'm not antisocial, but icebreakers waste of time. Well, icebreaker is so broad. I mean, the concept behind some thing, again, something broad, that allows people who are going to be working together to get to know one another, some excuse. Nothing wrong with the idea, but especially in high school, a lot of the things they did to break the ice were repellent to me. So, Matthew says, I'll be getting vaccinated Monday. Genuinely can't wait. Cool. I could have been vaccinated by now, by lying about my status as an essential worker. Interesting thing is that a good chunk of the people in my company are actually essential workers. I'm not, though. But we do employ the majority of the people who work for our company, our field reps. They are essential workers. So I could lie and say, yeah, I work for WIS International. We employ essential workers. Stick me. But I'm not comfortable doing that. I would rather the actual essential workers get their shots. You know what I mean. And then I'll take mine when my turn comes. So that's 25 depressing minutes of antisocial Andrew. So let's talk about some other stuff. Ooh, show and tell. Hang on a sec. So I bought new shoes, and I bought new shoes because my old ones are broken. Running shoes, or shoes for working out. So I went to the shoe store outlet and got new shoes. And the difference between the main store and the outlet is these $120, $130 shoes are $75 in the outlet. The problem is the stuff that you buy from the outlet is no returns, no exchanges, so you better be damn sure they're the ones you want. So I went to the outlet, tried on a bunch of shoes. These fit fine. They were comfy. I walked in them. I jogged around the aisle in them. I'm like, yeah, these feel good. I used my $10 rebate from buying the from the computer tower that I bought for my new PC. So these only cost me $65. And I took them home and I put them on and I went for a run. And after about 3 miles, my tootsie started to hurt. My insole on my right foot. And I thought, oh no. Oh no. Chaos says I refuse to pay more than $50 for shoes. Yeah, I hate paying that much money for shoes, which is why I went to the outlet store so I could get them for, less than $100. But when it comes to exercise, you really need good quality shoes that aren't going to fall apart and support your feet, and so you don't have ankle and heel problems. And so did a second day of running, and I had to walk the last mile because I literally got blisters on my feet. Well, I'm gonna buy some new insoles. Hope that helps. I guess it's better to spend $120 on a pair of shoes just in case they don't work, and you can exchange them for ones that do, rather than spending $75 or $65 on a pair that it's cheaper, but if they don't work, you just dropped a bunch of money on paperweights. But I bought something else. So if you saw my Extra Life charity event, you saw me do a ring fit adventure with weights on. And this is a weight vest that I bought. And it sucks. The first thing I didn't realize is that the weights are on the inside of the vest against your chest and your back. There's also no padding here. There's actually, see this padding here? I ripped that out of my old weight vest that fell apart and stuffed them in the shoulders to have some padding. Also, see this strip of Velcro across? This goes here. This goes here. Haha. This barely Velcros anymore. I bought this last summer. This wide strip of Velcro right here to go across the front. Why is this only a couple inches? Why is this Velcro not go all the way over to here? So when I do like push-ups, it would do one of these things and just kind of fall out of the hate it so much. So I bought a different style. Which way is up? Which way is up? There we go. So I got a different style of weight vest, and this one does not have Velcro. It has little latches, like nature intended, and nature intended weight vests. So this, sits like here. It's one piece. It doesn't have like the individual bags of lead sand. It's fairly comfortable. It doesn't move much. These are secure. The last weight vest I had for like 15 years before it finally just fell apart. I also liked that one because it was a full vest, like went down to here, and it had the big buckles like this. I cannot find that style anymore. Why do things just suck more? You think that this stuff would get better, but no, it starts sucking. Oh well. So, that's what I bought. Oh yeah. Ah, that's nice. So what are we talking about here? California is opening the 15th to all, right? April. I don't remember. I think what you're talking about is currently vaccines are reserved for essential workers and certain age groups and things like that. And then after the 15th, it's everyone come get your shots. I don't remember. Uh, Chaos walks 8 to 12 miles a day at work. Cool. Or maybe not cool. Depends on what you. No, I'm get you restaurant, right? Chaos also says maybe they aren't worn in. Last fry bot killed my feet for about a week. The shoes, yeah, it's very possible. So what I'm gonna do is one, get new insoles because come here, come here, you little. Because these suck. These these suck like a vacuum or a black hole or something. So I'm gonna get some Dr. Scholl's or something. Just new inserts for these. Also, I think I'll try just going on walks rather than actually running in them for a week or so. Just to, because you do have to break in shoes, but I've never had a workout shoes literally give me blisters on the insole of my foot. So interesting. It's only the right side. Left side is fine. Don't know why. But I mean, it's not like I didn't try them on and walk around in them before I bought them. I did, and it was a couple of miles before it started to hoit. So, oh well. So let's see. All right, let's you're on the one hand we have My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. On the other hand, we have Attack on Titan. Both cartoons, both shows that I've seen, both shows that I quite like. Let's pit them against each other. Which one is better? My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, or Attack on Titan? Well, it might be a bit premature for this discussion, but I thought pitting the shows against each other would be funny. Besides, I had something to say about both of them anyway. It might be unfair because My Little Pony ended 2 years ago, and Attack on Titan is still going. In fact, it's the first half of its final season has not quite finished yet. I think the last half of its last season is 2022, is next year. So, so who knows? Let's talk about Attack on Titan first, and then I'll get to My Little Pony, and then I'll compare them. Attack on Titan I saw first as the anime. And then I read, a couple of years later, I think I read the manga up into wherever it was at the time. And now the anime is past that, so I don't know how they differ. I don't know how the book ends. I think the book is coming close to its end, something like that. I did not see the live action movies. I hear they are awful. But I really quite liked Attack on Titan. It's still current. I like Attack on Titan. First couple of seasons, I think it's 4 seasons, something like that. Depends on how you divide them up. But it's got a wonderful premise. Music is great. It's got wonderful monster design. The action is great. It's gory if you're into that kind of thing, and I am. So it's really intriguing. There are mysteries, and it's like, but why is the world the way it is, and what causes it? Oh, it's great. So the general premise is everyone lives behind giant walls, like 50-meter walls or some ridiculous height. Um, Gigantic city, apparently out in the middle of nowhere, just surrounded by. It's probably not exactly 50 meters. That seems a bit high, but really, really tall walls. And they live inside them, and that's where they stay because outside the walls are titans, which are giant, like they vary in height, but around 8 to 10 meters tall. Uh, and they look like big, smiling, naked people with no genitalia, which thank goodness. And what these titans do is, if they see you, they will attempt to grab you and eat you. Not because they're hungry, not because they need the nourishment. They're just, for whatever reasons, compelled to do that. They see a person and they will grab and they will stick in their face and bite, chew, and swallow. So no one goes outside and you don't open the doors. What happened to the rest of the world? Is there a rest of the world? Did everyone get eaten by titans and this is the last of humanity? Well, no one's heard from anyone. We've been in the walls for 100 years. By the way, how did we build these gigantic walls? And we're talking about probably a couple thousand miles of wall, because there's 3 walls going around this gigantic area. How did we manage to build that with titans trying to eat us? Well, one day, a really, really big titan shows up. One that's way taller than the way tall walls. And that titan kicks a hole through the wall. And all the other titans come shambling in and start eating people. And that's the inciting incident of the series. And so it's a story about the survivors, of which there are few, trying to survive and kill the titans and take their home back and all that good stuff. And titans are notoriously hard to kill because they're pretty invincible. They just regenerate. You can lop off a limb and they'll just grow it back. They don't feel or care about pain. The only way to really kill them is to slice them in the back of the neck. But as I mentioned, they're really tall. Good luck getting up there. So, wonderful premise. It's fun action. Great show. And it keeps building on this premise. We find out later that one of our characters can turn into a titan. Well, if he can turn into a titan, are some of the other titans actually people? And if so, why are they attacking the town? Like if that giant titan that kicked in the door? Dude, what the hell, man? What bee got in your bonnet? And then we learn that the walls that are surrounding the entire place, they're filled with titans. How'd that happen? What's going on? Well, the final season of Attack on Titan finally gets to the here's the dealio. Here's what's going on. Here's what happened, why things are the way they are, and here's what's going on in the rest of the world. The why? Bigotry. That's it. It's just bigotry. Why are we fighting? Why are we horrible to each other? Why are we attacking each other? Why are we putting each other through utter nightmares? Bigotry. So, for me, Attack on Titan was a fun show right up until the final season, and now it's just kind of depressing. It's not bad. It's just, well, that's not fun. Why is it the way it's? Because people are just genuinely horrible, nasty, repugnant bigots. who, raise their children to be horrible, nasty, repugnant bigots. They're like, hey, little child that I'm raising, you see those people? They may look and talk and act exactly like us, but they're different. They're devils. They know what they did. They all deserve to die. Because they'd kill us given half the chance. It's just bigotry. It's just bigotry. And that's good enough of that in real life. So the show is, for me anyway, become less fun. I wouldn't say less good. It's still impressively plotted and thought out so far. But I'm just not enjoying it as much anymore. It's just not as fun. It's a shame. So, My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, which I have to say so that we all know which My Little Pony I'm talking about. Would you know if I said My Little Pony G5? I have no idea if Friendship is Magic is Generation 5 or what number they're on. But Friendship is Magic is 9 seasons. I saw Season 8 a couple of years ago. And then Season 9 never was available on Hasbro's site or on Netflix or anywhere else I could watch it. And I've been keeping my eye out for it because I wanted to see the final season of My Little Pony. Mine! I'm guessing Hulu got a deal at some point because it's on Hulu. So I signed up for a free month of Hulu and I watched the final season of My Little Pony. Now, I first saw My Little Pony. It was probably in its 3rd or 4th season by the time I got around to watching the first 2-parter of My Little Pony. And I watched it and I said, wow, that's actually pretty solid. It's got some great music, the animation is fine, character design is okay, characterization is pretty archetypal, but it's a nice variety. But it's actiony, it's well-paced, and it's funny. So I kept watching it and quite enjoyed it. And I always appreciated that. It's one of those morals. Friendship is magic. What friendship lesson can we learn today? And to the writer's credit, they managed to keep that, not rehashing the same thing. It's like sharing is good. Okay, sharing is awesome. Not sharing is bad. It's like that's just the same lesson. No, they came up with a lot of great lessons to teach. So it was a good show. The problem with it was, by about season 5 or 6, the main cast, our main 6 ponies, had, Cafe says, I've seen the first 3 or 4 seasons, infectiously satisfying to watch. It is. It's a really, there's no bigotry. Bigotry is not the source of everyone's ails, so it's a very charming show. I even went to the theater and saw the movie a couple of years ago. It was pretty good. The later seasons are not as good. They're not bad, but they're not as good. I'd say seasons like a bit of 5 and then definitely 6 and 7. The problem is that the characters, by that point in the show, had completed their arcs, and there was just nothing more to do with them. For example, our main pony, Twilight Sparkle, the purple one, she became, by that point in the show, she became the Princess of Friendship. She transformed into an alicorn, which is a combination of a Pegasus and she's a pony with wings and a horn, right? She started as a unicorn, then she grew wings, so she's an alicorn, and she started out as someone who, friends, who needs friends, and she becomes the Princess of Friendship. with her own castle and everything. She's done. Where do you go from there? Well, you go through season 6 and 7. Rarity, who is the fashion pony. By this point in the show, she owns her own boutique. Several of them in different cities with their own employees. Like, she owns one in Ponyville, she owns one in Canterlot, or whatever it's called. She's done. Her arc is complete. There's nowhere else to go. Fluttershy, the shy pony who flutters. She's still shy, but she pretty much in the first season gets over her shyness, or learns that when called for, she can be more assertive. She befriends the Lord of Chaos. She starts a sanctuary for animals. Where else are you going with that character? Rainbow Dash, the sports athletic roughhousing extreme sports pony. Her dream was to become a Wonderbolt, which are the super duper stunt flying ponies. She does. She becomes a Wonderbolt. She even meets and goes on adventures with her hero, Daring Do, who's essentially Indiana Jones. So she's on the Wonderbolts now. There's nowhere else for this character to go. Applejack never had an arc, really. She just works on the farm and she's fine. Who else? Who am I missing? Pinkie Pie, another one who doesn't really have an arc. They actually bring this up in the final season. She's like, I don't have an arc. I'm just happy to party and make people smile. So I've always been doing what I love doing. And it's okay to have a couple characters like that in your main cast. But the characters who had places to go, who had arcs, got there. They fulfilled their arc. They were done by about season 5. But we still had season 6 and season 7, which again are not bad, but there's just nowhere to go with the characters because they've reached the end of their story. The Cutie Mark Crusaders, for example, are 3 of the young ponies who were what are called in the show blank flanks. They don't have their cutie marks, which is the symbol on the pony's ass, so you could tell them apart if you're colorblind. Apparently, when you find out your mission in life or your life goal, you get a symbol on your butt. And so their whole deal was, we want to figure out we want to get our cutie marks. It's essentially going through puberty. It's a bunch of little girls saying, when am I going to have breasts? So their whole shtick is, we're going to help everyone else find their cutie marks, and in the process, we'll find ours. They do. In like season 4 or something. They're done. They've got the Cutie Mark Crusaders crusaded and got their cutie marks. They're done. There's just nowhere to go with the characters now. Unless you do something new with them. And that was really the biggest problem with the later seasons, specifically 6 and 7. Again, not bad, not unenjoyable to watch, but there's just nowhere to go with the characters. And then, the trailer for season 8 came out, and I watched it. And it showed Twilight Sparkle in season 8 would be Twilight Sparkle, our main pony, is going to start a school of friendship. And this school will be populated by not just ponies, but all the myriad creatures we've met in our adventures throughout the previous 7 seasons. So not just ponies, but changelings and griffins and those water horse ones and the yaks and the dragons. So what it looked like they were going to do is like, oh, I see. Okay, so we're going to start a school of friendship. We're going to get a brand new main cast of diverse characters, 1 pony, 1 changeling, 1 yak, and so on. And they're going to take the lead of the series with our main cast, Pinkie Pie and Twilight and Rarity and all them, are going to be the mentors, the teachers at the school. Good job. Clappity clap clap. That's a good idea. You can keep the main cast there in a supporting role, but you have new characters to do new things with the mentors passing on the torch and helping them along. That's a great idea, which they abandoned by episode 3. The School of Magic is more a setting than anything else in Season 8. The first 2 episodes focus on the new cast, and then they are supporting players throughout most of the rest of the season. Again, not a bad season, but there's just nowhere to go with these characters. And they kind of squandered their one shot at doing something unique for the show. Cafe says, I love that they made Derpy. Oh, a more prevalent character with a voice and personality due to being a fan favorite, and they toned her down because of the Karens that complained? What? So there's a grayish pony who whose eyes were pointing in a different direction. She was in the background. She was just one of the background ponies, and her eyes were pointing in different directions. It's an animation mistake. But the fan community thought she was adorable and named her Derpy Hooves. Apparently, Derpy is a slur, so Hasbro named her Muffins or something like that, and she became the mail pony who delivers mail and just crashes into stuff. And she's just a sweet klutz. They kept her silent for a while, and then they gave her a voice. And it was an interesting voice. I thought it worked well because it was such a unique and distinctive voice. But arguably, that particular vocalization could be read as someone making fun of people with some sort of mental illness or mental deficiency. That was not my take when hearing the voice for the first time. That wasn't my read on it, but I guess it could be. So they swapped out the voice, and the voice is fine. It's just not as distinctive as it was in the first time. So that's what I know of the history of that character. It's still a fun character. I do like it. Karens equal complainers? Okay. I'm familiar with the idea of a Karen, but I think minimizing what that's referring to mere complaining is a disservice, but neither here nor there. Still a fun character, Muffins or Bubbles or whatever the hell her name is. Hasbro was definitely paying attention to the fan community because a lot of the stuff that ended up in the show was stuff that fans just thought was really fun. So that's nice to see. Sometimes it got a little overbearing, but yeah, I think for the most part they did a nice job. What was I talking about? Okay, so season 8, like seasons, had the opportunity to do something good, but did not. Again, still a fine season. So season 9 finally saw, and pretty good, pretty solid ending to the series. What are you doing with the characters? Well, Celestia and Luna, who are the gods of Equestria, they control the rising and setting of the sun, they're retiring. So Twilight, who's the Princess of Friendship, is now going to become Queen of Equestria. Okay. She basically gets the job at the beginning of the season. She just hasn't moved in yet. That's not really the conflict throughout the season. The conflict is a good chunk of the bad guys, the final bosses from earlier seasons, are plotting together. They're like, we will use the power of friendship against them by joining forces, because the reason they keep beating us is because we act alone, but if we work together, haha. One thing I think the season did really nicely is it kept cutting back to that B story. Because the earlier seasons, generally what would happen is you would meet the big bad in the first 2 episodes, and then you really wouldn't see them again until the finale. And you're like, oh yeah, that bad guy. I remember them from the first episode. 24 episodes ago. you know. Um, Season 9 did a nice job. It it also focused more on other members of the cast, some more of the side characters. They'd usually have at least one or two of the main characters accompanying there. Like one episode would be a Cheese Sandwich, who is the Weird Al Yankovic voiced character, and Pinkie Pie. So you just pair her off with a different character, and you get something new. In another episode, you have a horse voiced by Patton Oswalt, who and he's paired up with Rainbow Dash, and all the other characters are there, but they're in the background and not really important to the story. So that was something that they did throughout the season. They'd usually take like one or two characters of the main cast and put them with one of the side characters, and that helped keep the interest up throughout the season. Also, it was much more well paced with the overarching arc of the narrative of that season. Um, it ended pretty solidly. It was interesting seeing who ended it because it jumps forward 20, 30 years. I don't know how the hell long pony lives are, but they've all got lines under their eyes now, so it's been some years. Apparently, Pinky is paired off with Cheese Sandwich, and they have a kid. Rainbow Dash and Rarity are a couple, which is one of the fan ships. So that's one of the Hasbro. It's like, well, I mean, they keep shipping Rainbow Dash and Rarity, so yeah, sure, why not? Um, Fluttershy and Discord seem to be getting along, and I don't think they had the actor for that final episode because he doesn't say anything. We're not paying you anymore. Did they ever bring back the Doctor Who's background character? They did. There's an episode. Twilight leaves the school because she's becoming the Queen of Equestria. So she leaves the school in the hands of Starlight Shimmer, I think her name is, who is actually the villain of like the one of the early seasons, and she's trying to find some pony to fill her old position as school counselor, and one of the interviewees is that Doctor Who's character. So yeah, he does show up, and Bubbles or Muffins, the male pony, she's there too. Not she's not auditioning for that role, but she shows up throughout the season here and there. Anytime someone delivers mail, she's there. Sadly, Bulk Biceps. I think the gigantic white pony with the red eyes, who's super jacked, and his dialogue consists mainly of "Yeah." It's kind of like Big Mac in that way. Yep. Um, he has like two lines throughout the entire season. I always love that pony just because he's so funny. But anyway, so I think the show should have ended seasons ago, but they I think they did as well as they possibly could with these characters in a ninth season. Um, because again, all of the characters had pretty much just gone as far as they could go um, by season 5. so, so apparently there's a new pony show, and it's going to be CG animated, and it's all new characters. So, will I watch it? If it's good, sure. I'll check out the premiere. I don't know what the hell it's premiering on or when it premieres, but if I don't know if it's the same creative team. I think Lauren Faust was the lead creative on this iteration, um, and they did a really nice job. So hopefully they do an equally nice yet different job with the new cast of the new Pony show. So if they do, yeah, I'll watch it. And as far as Attack on Titan goes, I'm still watching it, even though it's more unpleasant than it is fun. I mean, I'm kind of invested in the story and the characters now. I just want to see where it ends. where it goes. Even though I just like, yeah, but everyone's angry about violent bigots. It's like, what are we fighting for? Bigotry? It's just bigotry. Well. So, it's 8 o'clock, but I want to talk about Monster Hunter Rise. For April Fool's Day, I posted a gallery. Let me see if I can. Think that's it. Let me double check real quick. Ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-ba. Right, there we are. Whoops, I lost my chat. There it is. So I posted a gallery called The Butts of Kamara Village. I spent about 4 hours on Thursday taking pictures of everyone's butt in Kamara Village and posting them on Twitter. So that Twitter thread that I linked in the chat, that is, please peruse and enjoy, because I did it for you. Happy April Fool's Day. There are a lot of butts. I didn't realize how many damn butts were in Kamara Village. But I think there's 49 named characters, and there are a handful of unnamed characters. There's that guy perched on the roof. There's the 3 felines in the kitchen and the gathering hub. There's the one sleeping on the dock. The toadversary, the mechanical thing. There's a feline driving each of those. So there's a couple characters that are unnamed. You know what? I didn't take a picture of my own butt. Missed opportunity. But check that out. It's fun. I got to. I'm doing the Leslie and Bob series, and I've posted 3 videos so far. Those will be out on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at this point. And speaking of which, I've got to edit next week's videos. So I'm far enough in the story where I beat Magnamalo, and I went to go build his weapons, his armor set, and it required a plate, which are one of the rare drops. The plate is like 1 to 3% chance of it dropping. It took me only 8 hunts before I got the plate to drop, so that was nice. I've actually been fairly fortunate with my plate farming so far, because Magnamalo's upgraded version of her weapon, that required another plate, and I was like, oh, here we go again. Got it on the second try, so... And I got it as a target reward, which is a 2% drop rate. Now, I know this because that's actually... The percentages are listed in the Hunter notes. Also, don't be too impressed, because while the drop rates are very low, you do get, like, depending on how you play your cards, you get like 10 chances per hunt. So it's 10 chances, each one 1 to 3% chance. So, but I have seen people who are like, I'm trying to get a Rathalos plate, and it took me 28 times. It's like, wow. The desire sensor knows, and it hates you. But what I'd like to talk about in the final portion of our podcast tonight is the things that I don't quite like about Monster Hunter Rise that I feel World does better. Which game is better, World / Iceborne or Rise? Hard to say, because I'm not done with Rise yet. But my initial impressions are, I think World is better. World / Iceborne is better, even though I think... The reason I say this is because most all of the advantages that Rise has boil down to its aesthetics. For example, I like the visual aesthetic better than the visual aesthetic of World. I like the characters and their actions and their personalities. I find them much more interesting and memorable and fun than the cast in World. But that's I love the intros that the every time you go on a new hunt or visit a new area, you get a little vignette that is narrated in verse, and it's wonderful. It is so good. But again, that's aesthetics, right? One thing I think World does better that I prefer in World over Rise is one thing I loved about World is when you went out into the world of World. Most of the monsters in the game don't care about you, at least not until you stab them in the kneecap, right? You wander around the ancient forest or wherever you are, and you see a great Jagras. You can walk with and sit next to and follow it around as long as you don't stab it in the butt. It does not care that you're there. It might give you a sideways glance once or twice, but it's not really interested in you. Why would it be? You are an ant. And that's the same with most of the monsters in the game. You want to go sit on the beach and admire the sunset with Uragon? You can do that. Most of the monsters do not aggro. A couple of them do. Like Devil Joe will immediately try to bite you if Devil Joe sees you. There are some monsters that will instantly aggro as soon as they're aware of your presence, but most of them really don't care that you're there. And I love that. That made them feel more real. Made me feel like more of a part of the environment. Um, in Rise, so far, and I've fought about 20 some different monsters so far. Every single monster instantly aggroes as soon as it's aware of your presence. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just different. I prefer the other way. Another thing is in World, you have several different locations. You have the ancient forest and the desert area and the volcano area and the coral highlands and the Rotten Vale. While they're distinct biomes, they feel like they're all part of the same landmass, the new world where you are. You can see part of the desert spires from the ancient forest. You can see the ancient forest tree from the desert. The Coral Highlands, you can look down into the Rotten Vale and look up from the Rotten Vale into the Coral Highlands. It all feels like, even though these are separate areas that you have to load into, it still all feels like you're in the same area. In Rise, the flooded forest, the sandy plains, the shrine ruins, and all of them, they just feel like different maps in a video game. There's no connection. They don't feel like they're all part of the same world. You know, in World and Iceborne, you get a sense of how your character got where they're going. In Rise, they may as well just like teleported. Although in the lava caverns, there's a boat near where your first camp is, so I guess you boated there. Again, not a problem, just something I prefer the way they did in Rise. Um, Another thing that I prefer the way they did in World. Another thing I prefer the way they did in World is when you'd go on quests, a lot of times they'd surprise you with monster fights. Like you'd get a quest to go to the sandy or the desert area to research a big rock or something. Suddenly, bear off fight. Oh crap! I got to turn on my camera because I'm doing the Leslie and Bob show. You never quite knew when you went out on a quest what you would end up doing. Uh, they're like, we need to get a base camp in the ancient forest, and you'd go there, and there'd be a Kuluyaku squatting in the place where you want to make camp. So then suddenly you have to get into a fight with a Kuluyaku, and they did that quite a bit during the campaign for World and Iceborne, and it made it a lot more interesting. In Rise, it's just here's a list of monsters, pick the monster you want to fight, then go fight it. So far, there's That's it. It's really very structured. It's not as organic feeling as it was in World and Iceborne. A couple other nitpicks I have with Rise, which I do like and I am enjoying, is a lot of people were looking at the pre-release footage of the game and like, oh my gosh, you can run around and wire bug on the roofs of Kamara Village and jump all over the place and ride your dog down the middle of the street and oh, freedom of movement. Yeah, there's invisible walls all over the place. There are a grand total of, I think, 4 roofs you can go on, and some of them you can only get on half the roof. You can't get onto the back half of the roof. There's a lot of invisible walls in Kamara Village, to the point where it's like, why even bother with the wire bugging up onto the roof if I can't do anything up there, can't get anywhere from there? I mean, you can go up there. I'm glad you have the freedom to do it. It is kind of fun just to get up on the roof and perch yourself up there and take a look around and get an idea of the lay of the land. It's one thing. I was wondering where the rampages took place in relation to Kamara Village, and I got up on a roof and I'm like, well, we're on an island. Where the hell is it? I guess it's past the front gate. That's the only place it could be. I guess it's in those trees somewhere. That's more headcanon than literal text, but tis what it is. Um, you can decorate your room, which is cool. So, of course, I decorated my room with pictures of people's butts because I had them, you know. But you have a whole shelf where you can put little knickknacks once you get them. How do you get them? Every once in a while, the merchant will have a sale. When the merchant has a sale, he'll have a lottery. You get one shot at the lottery, and when the lottery has, maybe the grand prize of the lottery will be a knickknack. So if there's a sale, you can play the lottery. Maybe the lottery will have a knickknack, and maybe you'll get the jackpot and you'll get the knickknack. So I've put 55 hours into the game, although not quite that much because I leave the game on all the time because I know I'm going to play it later, so I just pause it and leave it sit. So probably closer to 40 hours, I guess. Um, I've got one knickknack. So that's kind of annoying. Um, the Rampage. It's a cool idea. It's kind of annoying, though. Well, for one, a lot of things are kind of confusing, at least to me. There's one weapon you can use called the Wyvern Fire Artillery. I don't understand how to use it. I think it's an automated thing that just shoots anything that like it's on a motion sensor. It shoots anything that walks by, I think. But you can grab it like a manual gun, and it has shoot buttons. You know, here's the button for flamethrower, here's the button for missiles. But the buttons don't do anything. You just immediately let go and it doesn't fire. You can aim it, you can hit the fire button, but it doesn't do anything. So why can I grab onto it? Maybe that's how you select what type of ammo it fires when a monster walks past and it automatically shoots them. Maybe. I don't know. It's not clearly explained, and that irritates me. The other thing about the rampages that kind of irritate me is most of your installations, the weapons platforms, are on a raised area. You have the high ground. So the monsters come in and you're on a raised platform shooting at them, which means here's the ground, you're up here, and then the monster is down here, and you're up here trying to shoot down at them, and you can't really see them because you're standing right here and the monster is right here, and you can't see them. You can still shoot them, though, even though that doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense, and they can still hit you, which I guess is fair, and you do have a block button, but I can't see the attacks coming very well because I can't see the damn monster. it doesn't look like either of you should be able to hit each other. So, you could have kept all the installations on the ground, or maybe just, angled the camera up a little bit so I can see. So, for me, the rampages, of which there's been one, although you can go back and keep playing them for reasons, you get defender tickets, which are used for something. So I've played, I think, like 2 rampages. I've had plenty of defender tickets. Of course, I'm still in low rank, so the game has not really required me to do much rampaging. Chicago, hello. But overall, really enjoying the game. Low rank, the village quest stuff is really, really easy. Like you don't have to pay attention levels of easy for like the first 20 monsters. I'm actually finally getting going up against monsters that I'm actually having to start pay attention to. They're actually knocking me around hard enough for me to go, oh heck, I need to. I'm getting knocked on my ass consistently, and I need to heal. Magnum Hollow is not one of them. The only monsters so far that have made me sit up and pay attention are Zinogre. That's not surprising. Zinogre's typically pretty tough. Um, there was another one. Oh, Almudron. And to an extent, Rathalos. Mainly because Rathalos won't get its ass out of the air. It's like, I have short little stubby swords. I can't reach you when you're up there. I mean, you can wirebug, but Chicago says I haven't done the rampage yet. I'm prolonging the low-level hunts to try and get better gear. Chicago says, oh, I thought I was just good. No, I know because I'm not good, and I mean, I coasted through. You'll see in the videos that most of my hunts are well under 10 minutes. The hunts that are longer, like I've had a couple that were like 12 or 13 minutes. It's usually because I'm dicking around the map, or lost, or get distracted by something. The fights themselves have typically been around 7 or 8 minutes. And I'm not a speedrunner. I'm not good at this game. It's the low rank village quest monsters are pretty squishy and don't do a hell of a lot of damage. Um, at least for me at least not up until like the 6-star stuff where I start getting against Zinogre, Almudron, and Rathalos to an extent. So coming up, I have Goss Harag, who's new to this game. Looks really neat. Tigrex, whatever you want to call it. That thing can kick ass, and same with Diablos. The big mean chargy ones, the ones that are always angry and running at you full tilt. Chicago says same. The fights are quick. I just take long because I farm herbs, bones, etc. Oh yeah, it's like, you took 15 minutes to kill Arzuros? No, I took 6 minutes to kill Arzuros. The other 10 minutes or so was me just gathering honey. And I mean, what's funny is I don't need it at this point in the game, or didn't need it at that point in the game. It's getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I need to invest in some like armor spheres and actually watch my health. Um, I can't help but going after all the Spuri birds because they're colorful and they're there. Even if I don't need it, it's like I'm going at like for some reason I need like a Great Azuchi tail for whatever reason. There's like a rarity 4 or 5 or 6 or something weapon that for some reason uses a Great Azuchi tail. I'm like, oh crap, I don't have one. Gotta go hunt a Great Azuchi. And I'm still picking up all the Spiri Bird buffs. It's like, I don't need this for a Great I could pound this guy into the dirt naked. Which you pretty much do because that initial armor set you get, the Kamara set, it has like 1 defense on each armor piece. So you have a total of 5 defense. It's really weak. But what's funny is I played with predominantly Great Azuchi is the first monster. I made a Great Azuchi set, and I used pretty much that set throughout most of the, pretty much right up until Magnamalo, and then I changed into my Magnamalo pants. So, I mean, I'm being critical here, but I am genuinely really enjoying Monster Hunter Rise. I think it's a lot of fun. So, tomorrow, noon Pacific Standard Time is Sunday game stream. We're going to be playing Trails in the Sky again. I actually just looked at the calendar and realized I played it last week, and usually I do it every other week, and just do some random game in between. Uh, but I already set up to do Trails, and we're getting to the tournament, and I kind of want to do that on Sunday, and it's my stream. I can play whatever I want. Um, but I did do some off-camera stuff. I set my dudes with the proper orb. I gave them orbments to give them some fun spells. So I set up their loadouts, and I did a little grinding to get some more materials to buy some stuff that I was missing. So everyone's locked and loaded and full health, I think, and standing in front of the tournament thing, and we're ready to go. Unless more story happens, we should be starting the tournament tomorrow. Um, so looking forward to that. Oh, I was doing it. I ran into some shiny palms, which are the as Chicago says, your stream, you'll play what you want to. Exactly. Um, Shiny palms are the metal slimes of this game. They're the they're the very, they're weak, but they are, well, actually shiny palms are not particularly weak, but they they're hard to hit. They always run, and but they give you a lot of experience. So if you can kill a metal slime, they're rare, but if you kill one, you're probably going up 1 or 2 levels because they just dole out experience like candy. Shiny palms are pretty much the same way. They give you a lot of experience if you can manage to kill them. I learned through my play that the shiny palms up spawn in the same spot of the map all the time. Well, they have one location that they can spawn in, so you just enter and re-exit the zone until they show up, and it seems to be like 1 in 5 times, maybe even less than that. So I ran a shiny palm. I'm like, ooh, shiny palm, and I'm getting a better understanding of how to actually beat them. And I beat them, and I got some experience and some nice loads of Sepith, which is a material you need. And then, of course, I expended all of my, let's say, magic gauge beating the shiny palms. And I'm like, well, I want to go into the tournament with full magic, so I'll just, beat up the local monsters to regenerate my mana, right? So I regenerate my mana, and I'm heading back shiny palm again. I'm like, well, I mean, I hate to waste this opportunity, and I kill them, but then I'm out of magic, so I have to grind again. And by the time I finish, more shiny palms. I ended up probably killing about 4 or 5 batches of shiny palms. The game's well balanced in this regard, in that it's almost impossible to power level in that way, because even though I was beating shiny palms, like the first, like at level 29, 3 shiny palms will reward you like 200 experience. But you go up 1 level, and the 3 shiny palms are rewarding you 75 experience. You go up another level, and they're not rewarding you anything. And it's like 600 experience to the next level, and you're only getting 15 at a time. You'd be there all damn day. So I'm guessing how this worked is each major area, Roland, Bose, Zeiss, Grancel, where I am, there's one specific area in each city, country, whatever, suburb, where shiny palms spawn. So, I think I've only seen them in like 3 areas, because typically if you're walking from point A to point B, you don't have much reason to go back. I just happened to be grinding in the spot where the shiny palms spawned. Had I known that going into the game, once I saw a shiny palm, I probably would have left and exited and re-entered the area to respawn them until I beat them in each area, just to beat them in each area, because that seems like a thing to do. All right, it's 8:30. That's enough podcasting tonight. I've got some more monsters to hunt, and hope to see y'all tomorrow, noon Pacific Standard Time, for Trails in the Sky as we get on with the tournament. So, hope you're all having a lovely weekend. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.